Okay.
All right. Good morning. So if anyone has any questions that they like about the program that they want, if they want to put it in the chat, I'll cover that. I'll cover questions mostly at the end unless you have questions along the way as well. Tiffany asked me to do like kind of my tips and tricks, but also like creating a class and online assessments. So I did, she linked the Google Slides in the chat so that if you wanted to follow along with this as well. So I kind of made it interactive. I made my own PDF for how to create a class. So if you clicked on it, you'll see my PDF that kind of walks through it. I wasn't going to cover this because this is kind of self-explanatory as you go through. I tell you what to click in order to create your class. And then if you want, there's also videos. And so I did link the videos. You have to be logged into the ConnectEd site to access the videos. And so managing your classes, and there's 4 or 5 videos in there to do that. So I wasn't going to spend a whole lot on that today. But I'm going to go to this. And so just kind of as a disclaimer, on creating the online assessments, I've only created one in the pre-K to 5 platform yesterday. I didn't realize yours wasn't the same as ours. So I'm going to cover pre-K to 5 first, what I know. And if you have questions about that, I can research it and help. But I haven't used this one as much as I've used the one for 6 through high school. All right, so I'm just going to log on to ConnectEd to show the assessment part. All right, and so the first one I'm going to log into, I'm going to go into, I was working mainly in the 4th grade platform yesterday, so I'm going to do the 4th grade. So when you're going to make an online assessment for grades K to 5, when you're in here, and I did link the quick start guide as well in the slides. So you click menu and you go down to assessment and online assessments. And when I was doing this yesterday, I noticed that I was like, this is interesting. So I created a test here. So I'm going to show you how to create a new test. So you click new test. And you can assign tests from the library. I can show you that as well. So I'm just going to say testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, I guess. Math, 4th grade. So subjects math, 4th grade. There's a minimum grade level, maximum grade level. You can change that to what you want it to be to get some questions in there. And then time limit, how long do you want the students on for? Allow students to cross out answers, hide question navigation bar. So you can click any of these that you want. Randomize question order, I like that one. Highlighter, if you have students with accommodations, you can click calculator and it will let you select what type of calculator that you want. 4th grade probably shouldn't have a graphing calculator, so I'm going to go ahead and just, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'll throw a calculator in there, why not? Protractor, reference sheets, if they get those, usually. So you can select the file you want for a reference sheet as well. So if you have a reference sheet, you can upload the document. All right, and then they have the student score sheet access. So if something comes up after the test, if you don't want them to see their score at all, you can click no access. May view scores, but not answers, which is one of the ones I let them do is that one because then they'll share answers sometimes. So you don't want them to do that. May view after completing the test. So that gives them all the answers. May view after the test is closed. So then that way nobody else is taking a test once they get those answers, or view on a specified date. So if you say that you want them to be able to view the answers and everything on Friday, then you can click that. So I'm going to say may view scores but no answers and submit. All right, so now when you're here, this is where you put your questions in. And yesterday when I was adding new questions, I was looking at like select questions by standards. And so when I was looking at this for standards, it only broke it down by the mathematical practices. And I was a little confused because in the older series, it doesn't do it that way. So if you don't want to do it by mathematical practices, because the questions are within these sections, you go down here bottom, standard set. And I did play around with this to figure out which ones worked. So the only ones that work are the mathematical standards at the top and the My Math standards right here in the middle. And the My Math standards actually I felt were more usable, because if I'm working with measurement and data or geometry, I can go in there and look at them. You have to, oh, it yelled at me. All right, go back. Okay, I'm sorry. This didn't come up first. You have to select, you can't pass this part. You have to select the grade level. So there's 21st century assessment questions, there's a question set, and tech enhanced question set. I like the tech enhanced question set because these are most like the air test. Now, there we go. So we have all of these questions in here, but you can change, you can filter by standard. And this is where I changed it to be the My Math standards. And then if I select that geometry section again, now I'm going to have some questions in there to choose from. I'm sorry about that. No, I'm not having questions. All right, friend, let's do this again. I know there were ones in fractions. Oh, that's because I chose the tech enhanced. So let me just do a regular, grade 4 question set. So there's not something for every tech enhanced question at all. So if you're choosing a specific standard, there may not be the tech enhanced one, but if you have the grade 4 question set, I should be able to go in here now, choose that geometry. And it should show up with some questions this time. And if it doesn't, well, then we're not doing geometry anymore. We're done. Come on. There we go. All right, so if you want to choose any of these questions, yours is really easy. You just click the plus sign. If you want to see the question, you can click on it and see what the students will see. So solve the problem by solving a simpler problem, and then they would select any of these. This one is set by mathematical. Let me just click out of the geometry for a second. So the My Math standard. So we should still be good to. There we go. So then, like, you can choose the fill in the blank if you want fill in the blank, and sort through. All right, so I'm just going to select these multiplication ones. So if you want the question, if you like the question, once you look at it, just click the plus sign. And when you're done, you just click. I have those added to there. All right. And those ones are the ones that I just put on the test. And then when you want to assign it to the class, there are like stuff in the gears, like you can edit or remove it. Like, so if you put something on that you didn't want, you can edit it. You can remove it from the test. You can preview it from here as well. If you want to add more questions, you can add questions by going back to the add question. And then you will assign it to a class. And I made a fake class on here, so when you click assign to a class, you can turn off and on the test manually, or you can schedule the times that you want the tests to show. You can open and close the test from here, so you can do open. And then this is where, if you were going to just assign the test to, if you created a test for different students, you would just select the students that you want to assign to. So you can toggle this down. And I borrowed kids from other classes. So if these are your students, I borrowed them. So maybe I don't want these 2 students to have the test, then I would do that. And you can require a password for access to the test. I don't usually use that too much. I don't know anyone who wants to take a test for nothing. So, but you can do that. You can set that to that. And then I just assign it to the class. And then it just comes into your testing bank. You can save it. And if you notice, this one is closed. I closed it. And then again, I didn't have any students take these tests, so you can view results from here as well. You can unassign it, or you can reschedule it for other students from here. But you would click the view results screen, and you see that they don't have a score because they didn't actually take this test. And then from the score sheet, you can click that and print it if they had one, and print it and give it to them or their parents, or email it. I'm not sure what this is going to do. It's probably going to yell at me for doing that. So I'm going back. All right. So that is the, that's K to 5. Is there any questions regarding creating an assessment, online assessment?
Not right now.
Okay. So one of the things that I did not put in my slides is you can assign resources to students. So the resources that we use, like the worksheets and stuff, and you can assign those to your classes as well. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to show you how to do that from here. So that would have been a good one because that said math at home. So I'm going to go back to Am I Ready? So if I want students to have this math at home worksheet, this looks like a vocabulary sheet. The gear down here, you click it, and you would click assign this resource. And when you do that, you can give it a name. So this is vocabulary. Oops. I'm math, I don't spell well, just kidding. So maybe vocabulary, place value. You can give instructions if you want. You can say the start date, the due date, the expiration date, and you can change all those. Again, if this is just for a select number of students, you can toggle, you can click here for all of them. Or if you just want a couple of students to have the vocabulary sheet, you just select the few students that you want to have it, and then you click assign. And then that's it. And you can view the assignment details. I can show you that in the class too. So under classroom management for that class I created, there's my 5 students. That's under class, sorry. Yours is under assignment tracker. This is the assignment, and this is what the students see when they go on there. And this is what they see, and then they click on this, and then they'd have the worksheet right there. If you have a, oh, he has a question. Mark, Casey, do you have a question?
Yeah, real quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
When you do these assignments, can they fill them out online, or do they have to print them?
On these ones, because they're PDFs, they would have to print them. But
Okay.
What I've done in the past is just copied and pasted them into a Google Doc and assigned them in my Google Classroom.
Okay. All right.
Or I'll tell you another, I don't know. I don't think it's too hard, but on the PDF, Sometimes I will add a text box into them to where they can put the text box. But when they're assigned from here, they would have to print unless they're the online interactive assessments.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This part is actually new. I noticed in the resources as well, they actually just added this this under here, share with your Google Classroom. That was not in there last year. It wasn't there at the beginning of this year. I did play around with that yesterday, and it does let you share with your Google Classroom the resource too. So if you want to do that, you can do that, share it with your Google Classroom as well. I thought that was pretty cool that they've now added that feature on there. All right, so I've covered then for K4 creating an online assessment. I also added in how to assign a resource, and that's for grades K to 5. So on K to 5 as well, I discovered some games, and I didn't actually know about these games, and I haven't heard a lot of people know about the games. So what you want to do is when you're on my slides, there's a quick start guide to the games. And I can show you how to find the games and assign the games to the students, which is, I think it's pretty cool for distance learning and fluency practice. So you can only assign a game that's for your grade level that you have. So when you're on here, it does show you on this tutorial how to get to it. You would click the 3 lines, then you would click resources, and then it said do like a keyword search for games, and games will appear on there. And notice they have all these games right here, but the games depend on your grade level. So I did add this part to the quick start guide so that you knew which games were available for your grade level. And so because I'm in 4th grade, I'm in the 4th grade book right now, I kept trying to find this apples and oranges. I'm like, where is it? Well, apples and oranges is only for K1 and 2. So if you are registered with K1 or 2 with the book and you have that book, you can assign this game grade 5 for air traffic control. So because I'm in the 4th grade book, Asteroid Blast is for 3rd or 4th grade. And so it shows up for there, and I played it. It was okay. And then when you go down here, estimation station, so for students to estimate, that showed up for 4th grade as well. Space Race, I played Space Race for a little while, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go and show you how to find those games. So the easiest way for me was, I just had the document, and so I just marked down like Space Race. So when I was on the McGraw-Hill site, I just went up to the search bar at the top and I typed in Space Race. And this is the game right here, and you can see the little icon for the game. And I'll click on it so you can see what it's like, but you can assign the resource to the student. So I'm just gonna click assign the resource. And then just Space Race game. Because they all like to play games, right? And then don't forget you have to scroll down and assign it to the students. If you don't, then it won't be assigned to anyone if you don't click them. So I'm gonna give it to all of them. All right, so then that's assigned to all of them, and they'll have that on their assignment page. Sorry, it's moving a little bit slow at this moment. So I'm just gonna click here so that I can go to the game so you can see the game. So usually, like when I'm not on the screen, it doesn't take this long usually to load. And I was gonna test them out on my phone, but I hadn't tested them out yet. All right, let's see what we got going on there. Almost there. All right, so this is the Space Race game. They press play, and then it gives them like the mission. Choose the shipment with more material, so they have to choose. drag the material to your space station. Evidently, I'm taking that over here. All right, so then they just go through the game, and so they figure out pretty quickly which one's greater. The number line. All right, so that is, sorry, my little thing's coming up and I can't go back to where I was. Go back, go back. All right, so there's a bunch of games on there. I noticed that in 4th grade, a lot of timeline games were on, a lot of place value games. So if you go and look at, again, if you go look at this PDF, it does lay out what games, and you can only find ones that are labeled with 4th grade. Okay, so again, you won't be able to find it unless it's actually assigned to your grade level, because that was a little frustrating yesterday when I was trying to look up all the games. I was in 4th grade and I couldn't see anybody else's. All right, any other questions on the fluency practice games? I've only really learned by just playing with this.
There are no questions right now.
Perfect, okay. So then that takes me to the upper grade levels, which I'm more familiar and can answer way more questions about if you have questions. So I'm just gonna go back to ConnectEd and log into one of mine. Oh, they have an announcement, a new platform enhancement, sweet. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead for the upper grades. Creating a class is very similar, so you just use the online tutorials from the page 2 of the forms. So I'm just gonna show the creating an assessment. Your screen sharing is paused. What do I do? Yeah, I just retried. Is it back?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna show how to create an online assessment for, this is grade 6 up. Their platform is a little bit different. I just wanna make sure you're seeing my ConnectEd page, are you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So for, it's a little bit more advanced for the upper grades. So you would click assessment. Actually, go back. So you would, because I skipped this part, you would click the 3 lines and then click assessment, and then this page will come up. So they have all the pre-built assessments in here. If you want to do a pre-built and you want to assign it to kids, you would just click the gear and assign the resource to your classes. Or you can share it with Google Classroom now. Again, that's a new feature, which I love and we'll be playing with soon. But if you want to create your own online assessment, you want to create your own online or print assessment, this is the program to do it with. So you just click on it. Doesn't usually take this long, but all right. So when you get here, you have the choices here. This is your test generator. So if you look up in the right-hand corner section, there's test generator. I'm just going to create a new test. And on this, it says, basically this screen says, where do you want it stored? So I always store it in my test so that I know it's something that I made. And I'm just going to call this training 1 because this is actually mine that I'm not going to be deleting. So my test, you can create a new folder under here if you want to. And then there's options for you to do this. There's build a test with questions randomly selected by question type from existing question sets or tests. I would use that maybe for a test, like an end of the chapter test maybe, but I'm a control freak, so I will tell you this. I like to choose my test, choose my questions, see what they look like. So I usually only use build an empty test, but you can go on this build a test with questions randomly selected. I'm going to show you that, and then I'll show you the middle one and then the last one. So I just click next, and then you can say what question sets you want them to come from. So I'm in the 7th grade. Okay, I'm in 7th grade, so I would just go here. So maybe I'm working with chapter 7. and I want it to pull from chapter 7. So it will pull from all of chapter 7 for this one. Click next. That's new. Oh, I didn't click the arrow. Everything yells at you. All right, so you can, on this one, you can have it be in Spanish as well if you want. So select one or more languages from the list. I'm selecting English. You can do both English and Spanish. English for now. Next. All right, and so on this screen, this is where you get to choose, and it tells you right here the number of available. So for chapter 7, if there were true false, it would tell you the number that they had available for this. So we have 22 multiple choice to choose from, 70 subjective short answer, 79 multi-mode, 9 essay. So whatever you want it to randomly choose. So maybe I want, it says here you can automatically select 10 questions. Maybe I want a 15 question test. So I can change that and say select. And then notice here that out of the 22, it chose 7 of these, 3 of those, 5, okay? And then you can click next. So if you're happy with that, you can click next. If you're not happy with that, you can go and change. So maybe I want one of these. So I just put a 1 in here. And now I have 16 questions because I chose one of the other ones. So if you didn't want 16 questions, you would go back and change one of the other ones to be a lesser. And then you click finish. And these are the questions that they randomly chose for you to have for the test. And you can look at them. And maybe, you know what, I'm not ready to test on this yet. So I'm just going to click here and you can just delete it and take it off your test. So that's by the number. Are you sure? Yes. All right, so then I go through and I look at the questions that I have on there. The other thing you can do is you can preview the test. So just so you know, like when I was on here, I'm pretty much self-taught a lot of this. So if you just go look at the things, but under the test, if you want to preview the online test, you just click preview online test. And the kids can take the Mark, this is the one, oh, your younger grades, I'm sorry, 6, 7, and 8, they take this online and they can answer it and it be graded. And that's the online portion of the younger ones too. So I can preview the questions. This is exactly what it looks like for the students. And they choose A, B, C, or D here. Or they can choose A, B, C, or D down here. So they have two areas they can do that in. And then I can go and look at exactly what the kids would see. So from this screen as well, if I want to add a question, you can click the plus sign, and then you can go and choose what you might want to add a question. Sorry, it's still loading. You can add your own questions as well. So you can create your own and add them in. The way I like to do this, I'm going to go, I can do this actually from the screen. Actually, I'm going to exit out of here. Well, no, I'll show you this. So when you're on this screen, if you go to course 2, because this is where I'm back in chapter 7. Click chapter 7. I can click this plus sign here, and these are all of the questions. These are all of the questions over here that I have for chapter 7. And if I want to, maybe I need to identify a pair of angles, I can take that. Oops. You can take it, drag it, and drop it into the test. And there it appears in the test. Okay, so this is just generating the test. This is just creating the test. And so there's a bit more steps for assigning it. So once you create the test, it's already saved, and you want to assign the test to the students, you would go up here to this section, and you're going to go to classes and assignments.
Real quick question.
Yeah.
Do they have this for the lower? This is different than the lower grade one, right?
Yeah,
They
yours
don't
is
have the same. Okay.
they're
This is a little bit
similar.
nicer.
Yeah, this is a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, okay.
But you do have online questions. That's what I showed at the beginning that you can do. I can go back to that at the end too if you want. Anyway, so when you're selecting the classes to assign the test to, and this, I haven't really gotten an answer to this yet, but like mine, for some reason, I have double of every class. And so I just have to look and see that one's blank. So if you click the plus sign on the side, it tells me who my kids are and what assignments. So I want to assign to this class. So I have to hit options and open the class. So as you can see, the assignments that I've done previously that I haven't removed out, thank goodness, are in here. So in order to add my test that I just made, which was a training test, I went down to the bottom, the tests. I opened up my test folder, and training one is right here. I just select it and drop it. And then you have to go through the steps of assigning it. So a recorded assignment is what it's going to be. If it's just a study guide, you would click study guide. You have different categories: test, quiz, homework, midterm, final exam. And you can select the term that it's in as well. You can exclude students. This is all of my students, but maybe if I don't want her to take the test, I would just move her. Oh, that's everybody. Go back. If I don't want her, it's not the double one, it's the single one. So if I don't want these two to take the test, I just take them out of it. Click next. And this page has a lot of functions to it. So limit the number of times students can complete the assignment. So maybe if you wanted to allow them to retake, maybe they got their score and they wanted to retake, you can allow them to take it twice if you want. Limit the availability to specific times and dates. So a start time and an end date. How long you want. So on the younger grade one, there was a time limit where a certain number. For this one, you can use a time limit. Maybe I only want them to take an hour on it. If I'm mirroring the air test, maybe 90 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever you have. Allow the students to check their responses. So at a certain point in the online test, it has like a check your answer button on the page. So you can allow them to check it if you want, to see if they were right. The number of times, well, they'll just keep checking. You know, if you have multiple choice, they'll check the first one, the second one, third one, fourth one. So maybe you only want to allow them to check it once. And then it says provide the correct answer on the final check. If you want it to be able to do that, you would do that. And then I use scrambling all the time, so that they don't always have the same questions. So scrambling the questions will scramble the questions, the order in which they receive them. Scrambling the answer choices will scramble the answer choices, and then recalculate the algorithm variables, This one changes the numbers. So what's really nice about that is not everyone will get the same exact question. So they'll be all random. But when you're going to go over the test, I learned this the hard way. When you go over the test, you don't just have, one, you have multiple. You have 20. If I have 22 kids, you have 22 different questions for question one. So keeping that in mind when you're looking at their answers, if you recalculate, every single student gets a totally different, they get the same question with different numbers. So if you like that, click that. All right, so then this step 4, you're selecting the option. So for the end of the assignment, you can not present the report. You can present only the assignment score, which it's on that one because that's the one I choose most often. I let them know their score, or present detailed report for all responses. And that would give them all the answers. So the only time I turn this off and don't present a score is if I have items, the short answers and the essays you have to grade yourself. So you would want to probably not give them their end of assignment report because it marks them wrong until you grade them. And so that can be frustrating for some students to see maybe a 59%, but I still have to grade the other 40% of the test. So I usually, if I know that there's going to be short answers or essays, I usually don't present a report at the end because I don't want to frustrate them. But for the most part, as long as I know that there aren't any of those on there, and towards the end of the year, then they kind of catch on that I still have to grade another part of the test. Then I present an assignment score. And then you click finish. All right, so that one's on here. And so I'm going to go into this one. This was a mid-chapter check that I had created previously. If you have to grade, so if you look up here, it says needs manual scoring. This one was, none of the questions I chose need manual scoring, so it will actually grade the whole thing for you. Whereas if you look at my chapter 5 assessment, and it says 48.6% needed, that was the average score on that test, but I didn't manual score yet. So there's a yes for manual scoring. So in order to manual score, I'm not clearing that. So you just click the yes, and then it'll come up for the students that you have to manually score. So when you go in here, the manual score ones are here. So the subjective short answer here. So I did score this person. So if we go look at this, here's a short answer. So I can click edit. Or I'm sorry, you have to look at his answer. So notice his was 77. The correct answer is 77, 90, 103. So 77, 90, 103, he got it. So I put a 1 in there. But on this one, they needed to talk about the commutative property. And you can click the, oh, sorry, it's stuck. You can click this to see what the question was. So simplify each expression, justify each step. So his answer was 19W. He simplified this, but obviously he forgot the 6 there. So I couldn't give him, it's either 1 point or no point, just like the air. So on his, I had to give him a 0. And so he did get a 0 on that. So then as you go through, you just, again, you can correct these. And then if you notice here, maybe they got, well, multiple choice is multiple choice. So you just look at it, you can see, you know, what they got wrong from this screen as well. Trying to think of somebody that I may not have graded so that you can see that as well. Yeah, and then I have conversations about this. This is my wonderful student, but notice here he typed in just any old answer. So I put that up. I'll take a screenshot of that, put it up, and say, this is like a conversation I have with them. What kind of grade do you think you'll get for this K, T, B? Are there any B's in here that you could even solve? And just have a conversation with them. Like, if you put an answer like that in, you get a 0, plain and simple, because you didn't even try. And so I have those conversations, I print them out, I send them home for a parent to sign. It's nice to be able to see those. And didn't complete the test, so he might have, once your test expires, it just leaves these all blank. So he probably had more time, just didn't get to finish it. All right, so it's classes and assignments. If you click this again, there is a reporting that I like as well. So you can click the reporting. I feel like I'm picking on that same class. Maybe I should choose another class. So once you do that, you have to, for when you're reporting over here, you can choose the whole class or just a student, and you can click options, assignment results, and maybe I want to see the results of this test, and it will generate the report for me. So I only had, this must have been one of the last things I was doing. So only one student tried it and got 0. And so I have that information on there. Let's see if I can, assignment results. I'll try this one. Well, he's the only one that took it for both of those. So again, like, so when you remove the test, you don't have the reports for the test, but I wanted to show you, I'm going to see if I can find one of the classes. It might have been one of my 7th grades. Yeah, let's do that one. I'm picking on the same class again, poor class. So on this one, you have all of their results. And then if you want to see or print theirs, you can, I did that too fast, I'm sorry. You just click the little piece of paper next to their name. And this is their results. And you can print that to send home as well. So if you want a paper, pencil, something to go home. On the report, there is a, I think it's, oh, I'm trying to remember where it is. You can export it, and then there's some report options that you can do as well. So you can do your bar graph, you can change your ranges on the bar graph. If you only want the student IDs, you can do that and take off the names. I'm trying to think, there was one other report that I actually like, but it does make the bar graph for you so that you can see it, which is nice when you have the TBT meetings. I'm trying to think one other.
Real quick, they don't have this for the lower grades, the same information, do they?
I don't know the answer to that because I have never, so the only reason we're able to see these reports that I have is because I've used the program. If somebody's actually created an online report, online test, and a student's taken it, I could tell you, but I actually do not know the answer to that, but
Yeah.
we can look it up.
I haven't seen this in the 5th grade version. This is very nice to have.
Yeah, have you created an online test and given it to a student online before?
Yes. Yeah, I've been doing it for the last 3 weeks.
Okay, and there's no, I'm sure that there's got to be some kind of report that they give you out at the end.
I could see what the kids did on it, but like that first form you did, but to put it all together like this,
Okay.
I don't see anywhere like that, but thanks.
Maybe I can get with you afterwards and maybe we can screen share so that I can see what it says. Because like I said, unless a kid's taken it, I only have the information for, because my kids have done it, to know how to do this. But I can't imagine that.
Good.
Okay. All right. So on here too, you have other options. This is other options for the assignment. There's a proficiency report, a proficiency chart, prescription report. So if I want to press the prescription report for this chapter 5 assessment, it will lay out what, like students scoring less than the minimum proficiency. These are the students. And so then you have that information as well. So notice the stars have a prescription, whereas this student does not. And so they did not have a prescription report on that test. All right, and then again, this is something to just play with. You can compare your classes. So if you have 2 8th grade classes, 2 7th grade classes, you can compare them. There's a grade book report, a proficiency report, a progress report, and I can show you the progress. Well, the progress report is when you put them all on. So like a progress report you send home. But this one, I like the question item analysis report. And it will lay out a whole item analysis on your questions, like the correct. So here, I like this because 53% got it right. And the correct answer was C, and this lays it out. So one student chose A, but the majority chose C, which was good. But the majority of those who got it wrong chose B. So then I can go back and look at the question and see what the question was and have a discussion. So if I'm looking at this question, it's name the property, and the correct answer was commutative of addition, but some students, the majority who got it wrong, chose associative of addition. And so I would have that conversation because they mixed up commutative and associative properties. Remember, associative has parentheses in it, and I would have that conversation with the students. But I really like this too, because you can go in and you can look at every question and what the students put down and have a conversation regarding that. And again, that's under options and item analysis report. Again, also really nice for TBTs. All right. So that's creating a class, assigning, and then looking at the reports. The one thing that I wanted to do with this, again, I'm slightly in control. Like, I want to know what questions are on my test. So I am going to go back and show you the way that I do it, kind of my thing. If you're trying to go back, you just click section and you have to do test generator. And I'm going to show you how I create my exit tickets, just because I use it a lot for my exit tickets. All right, so again, I'm going to keep it in my test. I'm going to make this training 2 document. I'm keeping it in my test. If I want a new folder, I can create it. And I always use build an empty test, just because I have that control to choose what I want. So my exit tickets, this is 100% how I do my exit tickets, and they take them online. So when I'm in here in the question sets, and say I did chapter 1, okay, and you have to obviously know your content, know what you taught. So today's lesson was finding unit rates. So notice right here, here's all my finding unit rates. All right, so if I'm doing an exit ticket, I can literally just choose these 5 questions, and all you do is just click it and drag it and drop it over. And it's not this slow, so I don't know how it's appearing to you, but if it appears slow to you, it's because of because the Zoom or whatever, because it's usually really quick. And then I just drag it and drop it, and as you notice, it goes by every section. So you don't have to come up with, you really don't have to come up with any exit ticket questions. They're all here for you. And so you can just click it and drag it and drop it. And these are the 5 questions from, and this is probably, if I looked in my book right now, these would be the 5 questions from chapter 1. So now I have these questions. Well, I don't want to give them all these questions as multiple choice. Good deal, you don't have to. So when you do the questions, you can do test, and well, see, if it's multiple choice, the computer will grade it. If it's not, you have to grade it. So just keep that in mind. So test, you can, I'm sorry, I have to remember how to do this now. So you can scramble, you can organize the question type if you want to, and I think this is toggling the multi-mode. Yep, there you go. So it took out the multiple choice questions. So they're not multiple choice anymore. So the students will see, find each unit rate, round to the nearest 100th if necessary, and it is no longer multiple choice for them. So if you want to give an assignment that way, you would just go up to question, toggle multi-mode question, and then it takes out the multiple choice. And then you still assign it the same way. But I like these. So when I do this, if I'm giving the exit ticket all along the way, this is how I do my exit tickets, and they're all online. And then if I want to do my end of the chapter test, I do that. So there's only one other thing I did want to show. There are, if you look over here in the left, there's assessment items, technology enhanced. Those are a lot like the air test questions, where you have drag and drop, you have highlights, like toggling questions. I use these a lot too. So this is chapter 1. They do not have a technology enhanced question for every section. So you really have to go through and look at the questions. So if I'm looking over this one, oh, I did use this one. This one was nice. So proportional, this one you could do proportional or not proportional, and you have all of these questions. Let me see if I can click on that. Well, I'm going to drag it over. But anyway, you drag it over and drop it. So if that's something you want, you can see it. And then if you want to preview the test to see how it works, so kind of that dog fooding, if you want to preview the test, you just click test, preview online test, and that's question 5. So I can just go straight to question 5. And notice how before my questions were multiple choice, now I have to actually type in an answer. So question 5 is that technology enhanced question. And so here, they'd read the question and then they could take, maybe this goes here, maybe this goes here, and they drag and drop into the boxes. So this is the technology enhanced. And then this is the part where I told you, how I said you could have them check their answers. They can click check. So if it was set up there and it would say your answer is not correct. And so remember I said the number of times. So, a smart kid would just pull them out and put them back in until he got it to say correct. So you'd want to limit the number of times they could do that. So, oh, that answer wasn't correct. So then they can pull them out and then redo it. But this is the technology enhanced questions, which I like. All right, I think that's it for assessments. Is there any question? Did I go? I probably went too fast, but are there any questions on this section?
Nope, and you're doing great.
Okay, perfect. All right, so for intervention class, and obviously you have to follow the directives of whoever the leaders are. We found out at one of our trainings about Learn Smart. I didn't know about it until this year, and I like it for intervention class for math. And so if you're on, I have to go back to my slides. I don't know where I put them, so I'm going to pull them up again. So if you're on the slides, I did do a slide for Learn Smart. It was kind of in the trainings that I had, it was the aha, this is what I'm going to use, and I did use it, and I like it. I'd say it's similar to Carnegie, but not, it doesn't give like 50 questions and like all the questions possible, like you stay on it forever. It doesn't do that part, where Carnegie would make you stay on it absolutely forever until it either ran out of questions or you got a percentage to pass. This is not that way. So Learn Smart, I did do the quick start guide for that in your docs. So Learn Smart is part of our program that you can use. And I'm gonna, you have 8 pages to help you to do what I'm gonna show you. So if you need to go back to that, it's here. All right. I wish this thing, I can't move the.
Okay, there's a question. It says, if you have a high school course like geometry, will the question bank have questions from algebra or lower grade levels?
Yes. Anything that you, okay, hold on, let me go back to here. So anything that you have a book for. So if you have the teacher's manual for, I have the 7th and 8th grade one because I teach 7 and 8. Anything that you have the teacher's manual for, the questions will be in the bank. So when I'm going to click this again to show you what shows up for mine. And Tiffany, I don't know if you can answer this question. Is there a possibility of getting more books? Because I know that we're out of some.
You mean the teacher editions?
Yes.
I am not sure, but I don't know that anybody that has requested. I think we have enough, but nobody's requested for more.
Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry. Mine's not. It's not opening back up. But again, any books that any teacher's manuals that you have on your account, you can have the questions for. And so, so I teach 7 and 8, so I have 7 and 8. But it might be nice to let, maybe 6 have 7 and 8 too. I don't know. Oops, now you guys get to see my other project. That's okay. All right. I forgot where it's, oh, Learn Smart. So if you want to find Learn Smart, it's one word. So if you type in Learn space Smart, it doesn't work. You have to type in Learn Smart, one word, in your search. Oh, my thing's yelling at me. Come on, friend. All right. And you have to be in your teacher's edition for the classes you want to assign to. So if I want to do Learn Smart for 7th grade, I have to go into my 7th grade teacher's manual. If I want to do Learn Smart for 8th grade, I got to go into the 8th grade manual. And again, one word, not two. And the students find it the same way, unless you assign it to them. So you use the spoke to assign it to them. All right. So this is a independent online learning. All right. So what I do is, as soon as I'm done teaching maybe the unit, so I was done teaching integers, so I assign them integers. And I'm going to show you how to make an assignment in here. You can also go on and take this as a teacher by just clicking it. I can see that 83% of my students completed this section, and then 100% completed this section. And the reason that not a lot of these ones were completed is because those ones were before I learned about Learn Smart. So I just put them up, and then the students like to go along kind of with what we were doing in class. So if you want to add an assignment, you just click add an assignment. And so one of the questions I had is, can you add an assignment to both classes? So these are my 2 7th grade classes. The answer is no, you have to do them each individually. But I have submitted to McGraw-Hill asking if there's a way they could figure that out. So maybe one day. All right, so add an assignment. And so I'm in course 2. So only course 2 shows up here because this is the teacher's manual I'm in. All right, so when I was doing this, I had assigned, I thought I did it right and I did it wrong. So I'm going to tell you that it was a big learning curve at first. So you're lucky that I went through it. So say I want the students to have one on ratios and proportional relationships, but maybe only just unit rates. So I'm typing in the assignment name. It's going to be unit rates. I'm going to assign it for a month. Okay. So I thought if I just, because all of these are all selected, I thought, okay, click that, it's only going to be on unit rates. No, I don't know why I thought that. You have to actually go and toggle off everything else. So I select unit rates, and then you have to go down here and turn off everything else. And then it will only give them questions regarding unit rates. Or maybe I wanted to do unit rates and proportional relationships. At that point, anything that's checked is what they will get questions on. So I'm not sure why they start them all checked. I don't know. But so when you first start or do the question, I want you to keep that in mind, that when you select, you have to turn everything off and turn on only what you want. So the first assignment I had for students, I thought I selected, I think it was square roots in 8th grade, and they were getting like scatter plots, and they're like, you haven't taught us this yet. And I was like, but I didn't choose scatter plots. So keep that in mind. Then I click assign. And because they're gray if they're not active. So these ones are all expired. So the only one that the students will see is this unit rates one. And they see it how you see it as far as these tile goes. And then you can click on it. You can, if you want to take it, you just click on it and you can see try as a student. And then it'll come up and it has all the questions for unit rates when it comes up. It has study tips, it has videos, everything is in there. They can set a goal. So if you have goals, this recharge right here is if maybe they didn't score so well. So maybe they got like a 70% and they want to do it. It gives them questions that they need recharged on. And then here's the assignment. This tells them their deadline, and then they set their own goal from the, well, I'm trying it as a student, but on theirs, what comes up is it says, how many minutes do you want to work on it a day? And they'll say 10 minutes or whatever. And then at the end of their 10 minutes, it says, okay, well, you've done 10 minutes of your goal. And this is the video. She talks to them. Most of them turn that off, but it goes through a whole study session with them on unit rates for the video. And then these are the questions. And you get reports based off of the questions. So what I like down here is, do you know the answer? Which is really nice. So if they're solving the problems, they'll go, so maybe I chose 3. I think 3 is the answer. So it gives you a report that says that they were really confident about, or like think so, they weren't confident, but they got it right. But if they chose I know it all the time, like I know that's the answer, it shows them that they were super confident, but they got it wrong. So you can have conversations about that. Or if they have no idea, they just select that and say, I have no idea. I think that's the answer. And then it says, okay, you missed this. This is the right way. And then it gives you a slide or the library suggested resources that they could go to that teach them how to do the problem. I saw a question. Was there a question?
If a teacher has several manuals and she assigns LearnSmart or something from a different manual, do the students need to have a book code for that additional course?
You can only assign, no, the answer would be no, but in their classroom management, now I have to think about that because I've never assigned my 7th graders. They have to be in the classroom. So when you set up your classes, but I don't think they needed, I would say no. I'll have to try that. I would say no, because if they're in the class, it assigns it to their class.
So they already have the book assigned. So they would have to, if they're in that class, that book is automatically assigned to them. So they would have to have books.
Yeah, so you would have to, so say like this is my 7th grade class, but I have a student that I know needs some remediation with 7th grade work. I could just add them to a class and then give them the LearnSmart questions for that. All right, so that's really all I had for LearnSmart. Again, I learned LearnSmart just by practicing and just seeing the reports. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't all. I want to show you the reports for LearnSmart as well. Again, LearnSmart, really nice for when you have to bring data to TBTs. I'm trying to see if I still have a LearnSmart open, but I might have closed it. So I'll just, there are so many reports and I don't understand them all just yet because again, I'm just kind of learning as I go. But I have my favorite reports, which I'll show to you. And then I have conversations like with the students. I'll be like, okay, this quarter, I want you to finish, I want you to have 2 done. This quarter, I want you to have 4 done or 5 done or 6 done or whatever, and then have the conversation with them. So in this classroom, I can go to reports under the reports tab. And there's all these reports that you can have here. You have like a list view. So students that completed the first one, that's their progress. I can see the pie chart view. This is as a whole class. And I just learned how to do this. I think it was like January. So from January, this is what I have. So if I want to know by assignments, I feel like I should show you my 8th grade one because I was in charge of my 8th grade intervention class and this is when we did this, but I'll just show you the other class, which is fine. But I can filter by assignments to look at their assignment. So where they were at their total progress. If I want to see a student's total progress, I'm thinking he did a lot. So I can see their progress. And this is the metacognitive skills. So this is where I was telling you that when they chose, like, I think so, I know it, you can actually go in here and you can look and see that he was correct and aware he was correct only 10% of the time. He was correct but unaware that he was correct 7% of the time. He was incorrect and aware 47% of the time. So he said, I think, I don't know, or I know I'm wrong. So he's very aware 47% of the time that he's wrong. And this one, incorrect and unaware. So he actually thought 36% of the time that he was right, but he was actually wrong. So I like that report. One of the things that bothers me a little bit about this platform is if I want to go back to that reports page, I can't just go back. I have to click one of these and then click reports again. That's a little annoying. I also let them know I felt that was annoying, just, just because that's who I am. But again, if I click this student here, like, what's really nice about this too is for students who have an IEP, if we're looking at goals, this is their most challenging learning objectives. So I can click down and see exactly where they were struggling. And I have learning objectives in 4 different areas to have a discussion. I feel like I've gone too far over. Should I stop?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I like this a lot for special education students, or like even if you're so in your intervention class, this is the individual part. So I can say, okay, they're struggling with these things, and I can pull up their report. And you can see it more in my 8th grade because I had my 8th graders doing this because I was in charge of the 8th grade intervention class. This is just my 7th grade classes. And everybody's is different. So even he has trouble with these ratios, but they're not the same goals as the other kid had. So it really is individualized on different goals. So if I go to her, she's one of my top students in that class. Hers are totally different. See, identify the base amount, percent, and a percent problem from, I'll do his. And then if you look at his are translate and solve a percent proportion with the amount unknown. So everybody's goals are completely different, and it lays it out individually per student. Again, I don't like that I have to toggle back that way and then click reports to go to another report. It is what it is. And then from the front, you can do all the students overview by assignment. And then if you just look at the reports, I mostly use the goals. I mostly use looking at this and where we're scoring. Learner progress by unit gives you some information there. Averages by topic, a performance summary. I'm going to see the overview by assignment. Yeah, I've used this before. I don't feel like you have to kind of go down the list and look at everybody. But you can also export these as well. So over on, let's see, down on the bottom, download as a CSV or print. So you can download your documents as well. And you can see each person by topic, what they have. All right, I'm gonna click back here. So yeah, I'm sorry, I totally forgot the reports, and I needed to show you those because they're really nice when you need some data and reports. Okay, so let me just double check my slide. I think that's everything I had for.
Well, we know Matt
Learn Smart
data, so we needed to see those reports.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the reports, I forgot the reports. And like I said, I don't know all the reports, the ins and outs of them. I just started this in January, so just kind of going through and looking at it, I've chose the ones that I really like. And so between the online assessment and the Learn Smart, I had just tons of data to bring to the table, which is nice.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions? I know it was just a little more than an hour. I apologize. But if anyone has any questions, I did put my email in the front of the slides. If I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer, and I'm going to try and get with somebody in the lower grades to see what their reports look like, because as I said, I don't have access to those reports until students actually take the assessment.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of reports from, because I teach the 5th grade, and it seems like they change at 6th grade for some reason. I've given my kids assessments, and I don't have nearly, I tried to do the Learn Smart. We don't have that in the lower grades.
No, you have the games. So we don't
Okay.
have games, but you guys have the games.
All right.
Now, I think it's called, I did text Tiffany asking about so that part is called Redbird. It's called Redbird, and they don't have, the Learn Smart portion of the lower kids grade is Redbird, but I don't know if we have that. So I did message to see if we could find out.
All right, I'll search that.
Okay, but you have the games, and I think the games actually give you some reports. Again, I don't know until kids actually play them. I think it gives you some reports like what we get on Learn Smart.
Okay, I have to look for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I posted the survey link in the chat.
And I just want to thank you, Carissa, for taking the time to do this. I know that you love this program, so.
Yes, there are parts, like I said, 6, 7, and 8, because I teach it, well, I teach 7, 8 mostly, but 6, 7, 8, I know more than I know the younger grade one, but I thought it was really cool that they had all those games in the younger grades. And we know that they love games, so assign the games.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, thank you so much, because there's a big difference between the lower grades and the bigger grades, and actually we're having a Zoom meeting. I'm having a Zoom meeting later on with Taft teachers on the lower or the upper grades. So you're copying this, so I'm going to have them come watch this.
Yeah, I will post the recording.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Awesome. All right. And Mark, you have my email. I think you've visited my class a few times in the last few years.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just was watching you, the way you do the math tests and stuff like that, and I wish, maybe they'll eventually get to the lower grades with the same version. It seems like I mean, I love the McGraw-Hill. The thing I like about the lower grades is we have that presentation mode, which you guys don't have.
No. Yeah, I was noticing that on yours because when I was researching the 4th grade one, I was noticing that you guys had a presentation mode where you can take slides out and insert slides in and pair it with your active board, which is nice.
Oh yeah, and actually that's what I'm doing with my online learning right now, is I'm putting that presentation mode up in Zoom, and I can through the presentation with the kids, and I could see what they're doing with the videos, and they seem to be enjoying it so far.
That's awesome. All right. If there's anything else?
Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you, Carissa.